Welcome to this short video on training progress. The theme of this video is how we can try and move away from the hassle of running our businesses. And the idea is to try and change that theory into reality and just looking at how training progress can actually help you down that pathway. The first question we have to ask ourselves is, what is your business all about? Our businesses, in veterinary practice as well, are machines. They have inputs, and the inputs to our businesses will include our patients, our clients, the team, the drugs that we buy, but also the establishment costs, the heat, the light, and the rent that we actually have to use to run our business. Additionally, as in every business, there are outputs. All too often, the key focus of the output is actually on profit. But the reality is that profit is not the only output that we should be interested in. They're obviously important. Without profits and without cash and benefiting to our shareholders, which may be ourselves as directors of the limited companies, but also external shareholders as well. But without profits, there will not be a business there for the future. So it's not wrong to earn profits, and we shouldn't be ashamed of earning a profit in our business. But we also have other outputs as well. We're looking to try and gain healthier pets and contented clients, and also looking at the professional development of our team, and hopefully engaging our team and actually having a very satisfied team with that. But also, in most of our businesses, one of our focuses has to be looking at actually engagement in the local community. So overall, really what we're after with our business is to generate happiness. That's really the focus of our businesses. And profit obviously plays a role in that. But profit is really a means to purchase happiness, be it nice holidays or the Ferrari in the driveway, or even more mundane aspect, planning for our retirements and having funds there to make sure that we have a secure role going forwards. So in our businesses we have this happiness balance, and we've got the positive sides, which would be the profit and loss account and also cash and things coming in with that. But also looking at the clients, an increasing number of clients, and also positive reviews laid by our clients either by Google or the thank you cards that we always love getting in practice, thanking us for the services that we provided for Tiddles going forwards. And as far as our patients are concerned, we want good outcomes for them. We want a lack of wound infections. We want to be able to look at our audit results and to say that we've been treating this particular condition in a better way and that we've been improving the quality of life for our patients. In terms of the team, it's always difficult to measure the happiness of the team, but retention has certainly got to be one of the major features of that. And then looking at the negative side, because unfortunately we've got this balance and therefore we have to have a negative side to this balance as well. And so thinking about your life in business, your life in practice, what are the things that makes you unhappy? Well, rules and regulations, that makes all of us unhappy. And looking at inspections, the inspections from either the RCVS or the VMD, they put a huge strain on our lives in practice. Complaints. Because of the nature of veterinary surgeons as personalities, we always take complaints very, very seriously. We think about them far more than we do about than the compliments that we get for our practices as well. But most of the complaints that come into practice stem around a communication problem. And a lot of the problems also are because of a lack of consistency in the approach, be it the approach that the reception team take, or the nursing team, or the approach that the veterinary surgeons themselves take to different cases. One other area, of course, making unhappy, for most business owners, the team has to be part of that. They are our greatest asset. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. You know, they're our greatest asset, but also they can be the greatest pain in the ass. So thinking about our teams, many of the issues that make you unhappy as a manager are also the same issues that actually make them unhappy too. And for most of those things, training is the key to try and help resolve those problems. So with a well-trained team, a well-trained team will be confident, they'll be knowledgeable, they'll be able to act independently. Because of that confidence and that knowledge base that they have, they'll be able to face new situations, new scenarios, and be able to take them on the chin and actually run forwards with them. The other feature of a well-trained team is actually the wish to educate other members of the team, to pass that knowledge on and to spread that knowledge base throughout the whole team. Whereas a poorly trained team will tend to be hesitant, they'll be uncertain of things, they'll certainly need close supervision, and they will be fearful of the unknown. They won't be able to adapt to new situations. They'll be, the rabbits in the headlight, and they won't be able to respond to new situations at all. And also, because of that poor training, they'll be unable to pass that training on to others in the team. So in general terms, a well-trained team is going to be happier, and a poorly trained team is going to be stressed. So what are the training issues that come up in practice and in business in general? One is the training deficits, so a lack of training. And that can be seen throughout the whole team. Incomplete training. So training that's partly delivered, so part of the training for a process is being delivered, but due to pressures of time, unfortunately, the whole scenario has not been covered properly. There can be untimely training. Both the training itself may be rushed, but also the training may be given at the wrong time in that person's career. A newly inducted member of staff doesn't need to know the fine details of how your practice management system works to control stock. But what they do need is to have that basic understanding of the health and safety rules, the fire extinguishers, and so on and so forth. Inconsistencies in training. These can arise because of the training deficits that we've already noted, but also different trainers can take different approach to the training itself. And if you have two different trainers teaching an individual different ways of doing the same task, it's going to lead to confusion and upset in that member. But also, if training protocols have been changed because there's now a new way of doing something, we've got a new type of blood test that we're using, or we have a different protocol, a different way of sterilizing our instruments. If these protocols are not, or the change in protocols are not being relayed throughout the team, that again leads to inconsistency in approach and to stress and hassle in the staff team. The trainers themselves can become overburdened. If they have too many staff members relying on one or two individuals to provide the training for all the different protocols in your practice, then that's just going to be too much of a burden for those trainers to be able to deliver effectively the message across the team. And we have this concept of a knowledge silo. And knowledge silos are the situations where information, skills, and expertise is held in this little silo, this little locked block, and it's not shared across an organization. So one or two individuals can be very knowledgeable about how things work in the practice, but they hold on to that knowledge. And it's kept within a specific group or an individual within the practice. Now this may be down to protectiveness of that particular individual. They may be frightened for their job, or they may want to heighten their own status within the practice. But often it's actually down to poor systems within the practice, an inability to share or to effectively share information about how things are done in practice. So looking at training ideals, what we should be trying to do is to look at defining the job roles within the practice. So nursing roles, veterinary surgeons, but also EMS students, all the different people that actually interact in the practice. Look at those different job roles that are there. And then within each job role, we should be defining work areas, specific areas of tasks that relate to that job role. And then each different work area further breaks down into different job elements. So in this particular case, we're looking at the pharmacy, we could be looking at classifications of medicines and so on and so forth. But by breaking down the tasks into these smaller chunks, it actually makes them much more manageable, much easier to learn, much easier to be able to tick off and say, yep, I've passed that area, and then be able to move on to the next step. So many of you will be familiar with Ernie Ward. He's a world-renowned management guru in the veterinary sphere. And he was the headline speaker at the 2023 Vet Dynamics Conference. And he is a tremendous advocate of a structured team and a structured team approach to veterinary care. And his systems have been predominantly based on paper-based lists and looking at job descriptions with a detailed paper trail following behind them. And he turned up at our stand at the last Vet Dynamics conference, and he was blown away by how the approach that we'd taken to looking at progress. He was kind enough to deliver this comment in his keynote lectures. Go and see training progress because they've got this sorted. We've taken training program to the next level. So with an endorsement like that, we had to come back in 2024. So where we start to go beyond Ernie's approach to having these work areas and job elements broken down is that we actually start introducing an importance level to the different elements so that individuals, team members, know what is a priority for their training. And beyond that, we then also take a timing. So when, having started a new job role, when is it expected that that particular element should have been completed and be part of that skill set for that training? And one of the areas that, as I've touched on already, is particularly important with that is actually looking at induction or onboarding of new team members. We have to remember that recruitment is expensive, time-consuming. It's definitely one of the biggest hassles that are involved in any business, and especially in veterinary practice. And good onboarding is vital to secure good retention of team members. By having this effective, structured onboarding, it creates confidence in the new employee. It ensures that they have an understanding of their job role and the responsibilities and the things that are actually expected of them in that job role. But more than that, it actually gives the new member of staff an idea of the company's culture. That the company's culture is one of valuing their employees, but also giving them a structured learning environment so that they know what they're doing and when they're supposed to be doing it. And from a MYA, a Mind Your Ass basis, it ensures that the legal and the health and safety requirements are met. Things like your lifting protocols are known and understood and have been signed off by the individual members of the team. So induction, as I say, is a crucial part of developing a decent training system in your practice. But we should also be trying to encourage a personal responsibility within our team members for their own training. They should be taking charge of their training. Our team members are adults. These actually are very responsible positions. Nurses and veterinary surgeons, these are responsible positions within a business. And our training system should respect the members of team, not patronize them. So with training progress, we try and encourage our team members to drive their own training programs, to drive their own progression through their training system. And part of that is allowing a self-assessment so that once certain of our elements, the team members can actually self-certify and say, yeah, I've got this, I'm competent, I know what I'm doing, I've got the information there, and yep, I'm happy to sign myself off on that. So that reduces the training burden on the other members of staff. They haven't got to certify them, but it's still maintaining that responsibility for the individual to say, yep, that's the way I'm going to do this particular task. And with this self-certification, we've actually added a few other little bits just to encourage a little bit of more security of the valuation. So we can add in an observation log, and again, this is one of Ernie's ideas, that you can actually log the number of times that you've been seen to have done a task, and just making sure that you know how to do it properly. But also we have a system for actually involving a small quiz which can be adapted, and so you can again just prove that that knowledge has been obtained properly. But where there is a greater need to absolutely have a security of compliance to a protocol, then we have trainer assessments. So this involves a member of the team who has been competent and has been signed off as being competent to then train others, actually signing off a new member of staff as actually having gained that competence too. So individuals, when they feel competent, are able to request passing off by one of the trainers. But also the trainers have another role in that they are involved in helping team members if they've got a problem or don't understand part of the training protocols. So built into our system is a request for help system, so that we can encourage members to actually have a full understanding of what's expected of them. And we've tried to devolve these assessments so that we don't just have one member of staff involved in doing all of the assessments for all of the different protocols within the practice. Once a team member is competent, they themselves can apply to be a trainer for that particular element. And they can then oversee that element and deliver training and help requests to more junior members, to newer members of staff when they come on board. This reduces the training pressure on the senior members of the team. So it's helping them avoid overloading with that training demand. But in addition to that, it also recognizes that this member of staff is involved in training more juniors, and we can make sure that we reward and appreciate them for that contribution to the success of our business. So we give our team members rewards for completing the training elements themselves, but also rewards for training and assessing other members of staff. Additionally, our reward system is involved in tagging when members of staff stay late or show particular compassion to clients and things like this as well. Because all too often these things get forgotten, and when we're coming to our staff appraisals at a 6-monthly basis, all of the good stuff gets forgotten, and all that's remembered is the bad stuff that happened that last week. So by having a system that records all of the positive things as well, it actually helps to create a much more positive and coherent aspect when doing our appraisals. One of the other training ideals is to try and make sure that we're removing inconsistencies, that everybody is singing from the same hymn sheet. And the aim is to unlock those knowledge silos so that that information is available to everybody in the team. So by granting easy access to the training elements, to the practice protocols, to our manual of procedures, they're no longer just sitting in these lever arch files or gathering dust up on the shelf. Making it a truly securely accessed 24/7 availability, and with Training Progress now having achieved our Cyber Essentials certification, we can be confident that your information, that your protocols are secure going forwards. The protocols are then available from both home, using phones or laptops, but also from the business as well. And an increasing numbers of members of staff actually want to work from home. And by giving them that opportunity to do that, they can sign in and they can learn stuff at home with it as well. And this goes on further. A new locum being employed in the practice can be given access to the training progress system prior to them actually joining your practice. So they can understand your protocols for neutering, for vaccination schedules. They can have that information before they start in your business. And that'll obviously save a lot of time and hassle, and again, decreasing the inconsistencies that can be seen. So having up-to-date protocols helps to avoid inconsistencies in the training and in the way that we deliver services to our clients. And the system within Training Progress has been designed to ensure that we are updating our protocols on a regular basis. And built into the document management system are revision dates and reminders to update the protocols as we need to. And this is a requirement for things like the RCVS PSS and also for ISO 9001. And it's just a good, sensible thing to do, that you are checking that your protocols are up to date and that they are consistent with the way that things are actually happening in your practice at any one time. And the document management system that we have creates a proper structure for that. So we have a chronology of the updates. We archive old versions. We even automatically produce new version numbers for the different protocols as we go through. But you're able to access the old versions right the way through and to prove that you have got the system in place for updating the knowledge. And keeping the team up to date means that we've got effective communication to relevant team members of any changes that are made. And coming back to our unhappiness balance or our happiness balance, poor communication is certainly one of the things that tips the balance onto the negative side. Getting the information out is the easy part of communication. Ensuring that it's been received is a much harder thing to achieve. And with Training Progress, what we've tried to do is to help automate that as much as we can. So if we have an updated protocol, we've changed the way that we take our blood samples, or whatever, there's a system involved that our team members will actually sign off that updated protocol. So they're signing off that they have been informed and they now know how the system should work going forwards. And we have various levels of that, from requiring signing off to simply notifying and so on. So again, just ensuring that we've got that consistency. But in addition to that, there's lots of things that happen in practice. There's a notification that the laboratory supplies or the laboratory collection is not going to happen this week because the driver's off sick. And how often do we hear, oh, no one ever told me? So we have an urgent news system which ensures that information like that is properly delivered and that team members actually sign off that they've been informed and that they're aware of these urgent changes. So coming back to our happiness balance and looking at the balance in practice, you have successful practices. These are generating happiness, be it profit, be it the increased numbers of clients and so on. They're generating happiness. And there are ways of increasing the happiness levels within your practice and trying to decrease any unhappiness that may be occurring. And our aim is to add to the net abundance of happiness in practice. Training Progress helps you move from the hassle of practice to an ease of running your staff training and ease of managing the staff going forwards. And I truly believe that it can be a tremendous asset for any practice, for any business going forwards. So thank you for your interest in Training Progress, and I hope that you'd like to take the opportunity to have a little bit more in-depth look at the system. And if you click on the QR code here, we can book you in for an online demonstration and just go into things in a little bit more detail. But thank you once again for your time and your interest in watching this video. Thank you.